And that, one of the things that that means, and some people don't like this, is that means that I can't, most of the time, I can't take a position on a land use question before it comes to the board. One of the reasons for that, in fact, there was a case recently where a court ruled that the planning commissioner's authorship of a newsletter article attacking a project was that was before the commission gave an acceptable probability of actual bias, which was sufficient to preclude the commissioner from voting on the project. So the commissioner's vote was nullified by a court later because he had taken a position prior. Now, the planning commission is a quasi-judicial, decision-making body. The board of supervisors sits as the appellate board to the planning commission. So, if the planning commission makes a decision that the community or that someone, an organization, an environmental group doesn't like, then they can appeal that to the board of supervisors. The board of supervisors make the final decision. Now, if the board of supervisors doesn't treat that with, doesn't respect the due process, doesn't respect, doesn't listen to both sides, then that supervisor's decision can be later called into question. So, I've been put under great pressure to take positions on projects, land use decisions. I haven't done it. I was threatened at one point, and I wouldn't do it. I don't do it because it takes away my ability to do my job, which is, my job is to sit on that board and make decisions. And in order to be respectful, I'm sworn to uphold the Constitution of the States and the state of California. In order to do that, I have to give due process to people who are before the government. So I could speak in general terms on some of the land use decisions that may be upcoming. I think what I can do of greater value is just give you my philosophy on that, and with that we can I can move on and take questions. But I do appreciate your taking the time to listen to some of my priorities, and I enjoyed sharing it with you, and certainly be happy to answer any questions. $3,000 an acre for ground squirrel mitigation?
Yeah. I got a letter here from Big Engineering.
From Stephen Engineering? You got a letter from that? No, I heard something last week about Mojave ground squirrel mitigation, but I haven't heard the details about it. Currently, ground squirrel mitigation is the responsibility of the Department of Fish and Game because it's state listed but not a federally listed species. The county has to abide by fish and game requirements, and I would assume that it's a fish and game requirement, but I would be happy to look into it to make sure that.
You want a copy?
I'd love to have a copy of that. Could somebody get John, Robert? There you go. Robert will take that from you. Thank you. Just to expand on that a little bit more, one thing I've been working on for about the past 10 years is a document called the West Mojave Plan, and that's a habitat conservation plan that whose purpose is to basically to streamline the environmental process, because I mean the fact is, yeah, particularly with regard to the desert tortoise, we do have to recover that species. It's going extinct, and there's federal laws and state laws that require us to do that. However, requiring someone to go through a 3-year process to be told what they need to do in order to move forward with, whether they want to build a home or whether they want to build a shopping center. It's only because of the fact that Fish and Game is understaffed and Fish and Wildlife is understaffed, and they can't do these individual consultations. So we have government bureaucracy is bottlenecking, and it's really not fair to the proponents. It's not really fair. It's not good for the economy. And this program, West Mojave, would be applicable within the cities. It would also be applicable in the BLM areas and in the county areas. It still would require mitigation. It would just make it happen faster. and it would be much more fair than what's currently happening. And I think a $3,000 an acre ground squirrel fee is ridiculous, especially when you figure, first of all, I see those things everywhere. Okay? I don't believe it's actually a native species, and they're still trying to get it federally listed. Curry County, about 10 years ago, sued Fish and Game over that listing, got it delisted, and then it was overturned later by another court. But that's one reason why Kern County is a participant in the West Mojave Plan, because they've had a heck of a time with it. And currently we're actually defending that plan in court. It's being challenged, but it's basically one example of what I'm doing. I'm trying to be cooperative with the federal agencies in finding solutions. All right, they have to mitigate, they have to protect the species, and I have to look out for the economy. I have to look out for the property rights of the people and public access. So I think the West Mojave Plan is the way to get there. We've been working on it for about 12 years, and we're almost there. Situations like the $3,000 an acre fee being charged would go away, and we would have a much more equitable program. So that was a long answer. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
What about all these homes that are being built up here, and they're not adding post offices or stores on your business properties, such as the corners up here? They added all those new homes over on Topaz and Escondido. They got the Rolling Oaks Estates out there, Rolling Hills Estates out there. They've got brand new homes coming up here, and there's no stores, no post offices. Grocery stores, I'm talking about grocery stores.
Right.
They're bringing in all these people.
She's got a strong voice. I'm hearing everywhere. Okay, we're talking about basically that's called the retail gap, and that's one of the areas where we have a problem in the Victor Valley. But we're starting to see interest at an unprecedented level by commercial development firms. We have a lot of interest in the highway corridor here, but that's a function of more. That's a function of the economy, and they look at the population, they look at the incomes, and the employment, and then they look at the projections. And I think right now we see some projects that are receding, they're pulling back because we're going into what's called a correction. The housing market is cooling down, and we're going to see that for at least about another year to a year and a half, where foreclosures are going to go up, housing market's going to dip, and we're going to see commercial projects being put off, unfortunately. Another thing that, like Chino Hills, for instance, the city I don't represent, but they have had a long time they've had a problem where they don't have enough commercial zoning. You have about, Oak Hill's about 1% of your zoning is commercial, and the city just annexed a big piece of commercial along recently, about 2 years ago, I say recently. The city of Astoria annexed a lot of the highway frontage. It's part of the, balancing the community and making sure that there are opportunities. If you want to have commercial, making sure that it's available in the right locations. I would have to look at the areas you talk about, the intersections. I'd have to look at the zoning in those areas, but I really don't have a role other than maybe with redevelopment around the Air Force Base. I don't have much of a role for promoting development other than encouraging job creation and so forth. Sometimes commercial developers do come in and they want to kind of know what kind of a business climate we have, and we have a great business climate. We have the 26th best municipality as a county in the country to do business. We're pretty business friendly, so we can make that case. But a lot of times they don't come to us. With regard to post offices, that's up to the postmaster. We can certainly make the case.